It's time for a full body stability ball workout. I like to start, I like to start off seated and doing what I call some stealthy little moves, because it's very interesting to see how much stability you do or do not have in the core as you sit on the stability ball. So it's kind of a misnomer. Stability ball means instability ball. You ready? Okay, so we're gonna sit on the stability ball, and mine's a little flat today. It should have a little bit more air, but I'm too lazy to blow it up, and you might be a little bit like me some days. So I'm going to start off with the feet right in front of you and just working on our beautiful posture, that Pilates posture, reaching the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, getting that rib cage expansion up and out, and closing the rib cage in and down. As you do this, find that movement in the rib cage and try to keep everything out of those upper traps. They can become accessory breathing muscles, and we just want to let them relax. Also the neck muscles here. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So now, as we have that rhythm, I love sitting on the stability ball in order to find that pelvic floor engagement, because you can find that contact and you can feel that gentle lifting up a little bit more. So where your sit bones are, you want to lift that pelvic floor up without squeezing your glutes. So it's all internal and not external. Lifting up through that exhale, the diaphragm and the pelvic floor both come up as you exhale, and they both descend as you inhale. So inhale, relax it. Exhale, lift it up. Good, practice just a couple more of those. I know this seems tedious, but I am telling you, the more you start to understand this rib cage expansion and the relationship between the diaphragm and the pelvic floor, the more important it is for getting that core engaged, and also making sure that you have lifelong healthy pelvic floor, because I'm learning now how important that is. Menopause. Okay, so now we're going to walk our feet in, and when you walk your feet in, you have a less stable base of support. Our feet out here, we've got a nice stable base. We're good. And then when we walk those feet in, it gets a little bit more challenging. So you might already feel you kind of shift off to one side. This is always interesting if you can get yourself in front of a mirror after you're looking at the TV, and just see what goes on with those hips. And then to make it even more challenging, we're going to bring your heels up. And so right here, you're balancing on those sit bones. I always imagine that my sit bones are like little anchors, and they're dropping down through the ball and attaching to the floor. Belly button's the center of gravity, crown of the head is reaching up to the ceiling. Okay, this is a lot harder than it looks. Now we're going to start some arm movement. So I'm going to start making some arm circles without that ball going to the right and left. So instead of this, we keep it stacked right underneath those hips. Yep, and those heels might want to come down a little bit. That's okay. See if you can regroup, regather. Take your time moving those arms around. Okay, we're going to reverse, go back the opposite way. Hugging those knees and ankles together, finding that adduction, inner thigh squeeze, pelvic floor lift, balancing on that ball. Beautiful. La, 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 la. One more here. And we bring those arms back down. Nice job. All right, so that was subtle, but stealthy, right? Okay, let's move into just a little bit of balance work on our belly. So I'm going to come on down to a kneeling position. Take that belly button right into the ball, right at the apex here, and we're going to roll your body up and over. Okay, from here, we're going to tuck those toes. Start to straighten those legs. You're going to curl your tail around the ball, so you're tucking your tail around the ball. And you're going to see if you can balance here, bringing your hands out to the side. So my body is like a launch pad. My crown of my head is reaching out. A lot of times when people first start this, they end up sliding back and they're not able to keep the ball stable. Having a nice grippy mat is helpful instead of slick carpet. And if you can't do that despite that, then you can bring your heels back against the wall. So it'd be like me turning this way and getting my heels up against the wall there. That's only a training wheel thing though. I want you to be able to grow past that at some point. Okay, so we're gonna work on this balance and we're just gonna tuck this nose down. This is called flexion. And then we're coming up into extension. So we tuck down, flexion, extension. And I'm trying to keep this out of my low back and make it be more into my upper back. 5. Awesome. We got 4. Lifting that belly button up to your backbone. And 3. Beautiful. Last 2. And final 1. Yeah. All right, bring it back down. We're going to walk further. Actually, let me move the ball back so I don't get out of the screen. So the ball's coming back to your pelvis or right on top of your hips or right under your hips. We're going to stabilize those shoulders and I'm going to work on some glute engagement here. So I'm going to reach my right leg long and I'm just going into a lift and lower. So again, I'm activating those abs, turning the glutes on, and then my hamstrings are working as I do this lift and lower. Now notice I'm not super arched here. Of course, it kind of depends on how long your arms are. But you can even come down a little bit to help you stay out of that low back. My hamstrings are on fire today. Did some weightlifting earlier and I can feel it now. We got 6. And 5. Don't you love those long counts? And 4. Hang on for 3. Last 2. And final 1. Beautiful. Lower that leg. Regroup. On these, I always think about an anchor from my belly button going through the ball and anchoring down on the mat here. So if that imagery works for you to help you stay stable, great. This will tell you a lot about the balance there in the spine and the core. All right, abs are wrapping, glutes are squeezing. We got that lift and lower. We got 6 and 5, 4, last 3, beautiful 2, and final 1. All right, you guys ready to get a little crazy? Okay, this one looks harder than it is. You gotta remember, it's all about the abs, so we're gonna tuck and pull those abs up. So here's how it works. I'm gonna scoot back just a little bit, bringing the ball now to the top of my thighs, okay? So it's below my hip bone level. So if I can touch my hip bones, I'm just gonna take a little bit below. Okay, now from here, I'm gonna pull up through my abs and roll those knees forward, lifting my glutes up in the air. A lot of upper abdominal work here, and then we roll it away. Again, up. It's kind of like doing a reverse curl. If you can't get it that far, just think about tucking your tailbone down and doing like a reverse curl here. Okay, that's a good place to start. So let me do that. Tuck and draw those knees in. And again, tuck and draw those knees in. There's really not a lot of weight on my arms if you're really worried about that. Most of it is in those knees, driving into those knees. Good, we got 4. And 3. Tucking around. Kind of fun, isn't it? Last 2. And 1. Beautiful. Okay. Then from here, one of my favorite moves is to just dangle those legs over the back of the ball and feel this openness from tail to crown here. This opens those lumbar muscles that kind of get a little compressed, especially if we have a tipped pelvis where our back is in that, our lumbar spine is in that compression. So this will feel nice. In some of the other videos, we hang here for a while and really create some space. But I want to move on because there's a few more things I want to teach you today. Okay, so we're going to roll over now. So from here we're going to go into some abdominal work, and we're going to start off with the top part, and then we're going to move to the bottom, and then we're going to put the two together. Okay? So on your back, you're going to scoop your pelvis into your imprint. So that's sealing that lumbar spine to the mat. Your hands are going to hold on to that ball, and as you hold on to that ball, I want you to think about squeezing in a little bit. So when you do that, you should feel it all the way down the side of the core here. So think about it more here than up here on the arms. Squeezing those arms or the rib cages together, and then shoulders and elbows. Okay. All right. So from here, we're going to scoop that pelvis, bring it into imprint. Now the hardest part here is keeping your rib cage from popping. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. We're going to reach the ball up overhead, and I want you to keep your ribs from dropping and opening like this. So instead, you're going to keep the ribs knitted down towards your hips. So it's an exhale, reach up and bring it back. So the ball's not super heavy, but it's enough to challenge that rib cage. So we're squeezing in on the ball, keeping the rib cage knitted down. That's it. We got 4, and 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Okay, now we're going to work the lower part. This is going to be a little bit more challenging. We're going to take the ball now in between your ankles, squeezing those knees together. We're scooping that imprint, and then I'm actually going to hold on here with my thumb on my bottom rib and my fingers on the top of my hip, and just try to make some little tiny moves, bringing that ball away from your body, but without letting your low back come up off the mat. So I'm sealing these two places together right here. Ribs and hips are coming towards each other. Pinch them towards each other. Low back stays connected to the mat as opposed to this. Okay, everything popping up there. We don't want that. We want this. You're going to feel your abs a lot more. Now, if you feel a lot of tension up here in your shoulders and your neck, just try to relax it. Tuck your chin down just a little bit to your chest, and maybe even shorten the distance that you're going outward. Just a little bit smaller. It may not be very far. Woo. And my little ladies, the ball between those ankles is going to feel huge, so I understand that. If you have little short legs, do your best. Can we get 3 more here? 3, and 2, and last one. Oh, lovely. Okay, you ready to put those two together now? We're going to bring the ball up in between your ankles. So my legs are straight up in the air. Some of us, our legs are going to have to be bent. You're not going to be able to straighten them. Totally fine. And we're just going to reach the hands up now. Come on into a curl. Go ahead and take that ball with the hands. Bring your feet together, and we're going to lay out. So our arms come up over our head and our legs come. Ooh, you didn't see that one coming, did you? Bring those hands and feet back together. The ball's now going to go in between those ankles. We squeeze those ankles, and then we reach the legs away. Now when you do this, it's really important to keep that low back attached to the mat and your belly coming in rather than popping and arching. So draw that TA in. You may not be able to go very far, and that is fine. More important to use those abs and protect your low back. Love this one. Let's go 6, and 5, and 4, and 3. Last 2. Final 1. Reach it away. La la la. Bring it back up. And relax. Okay, this next one is just total silliness and a lot of fun. But you're also going to feel your inner thighs. So we're going to bring your legs straight up again. And by the way, I'm fine if your knees are bent. And here's the fun part. You're gonna open those feet apart, catch the ball, toss it back up, and catch the ball. Ooh, that first one wasn't a winner. You might have one like that. So I'm not gonna cut it. So we do that, and catch. Drop, and catch. Drop, and catch. And you get the rhythm of it. Now drop, and catch. We got 8. Woo, I feel my inner thighs. And it's playful. 6, and 5, and 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. All right, bring it down. Okay, I want to move into a hamstring exercise now. So this is another one that doesn't look like it's a big deal. If somebody's watching you perform this, they'll be like, that's nothing. Have them try it. So we're going to bend your knees into 90 degrees. And see how I have space between the ball and my thighs? It's not right up against my thighs. I'm going to move it away just a little bit, bringing your heels to that apex or that round part. Our knees are going to be equally spaced. They don't have to be hugged together. And we're just going to roll that ball away. And what we're working on here is hamstring curling, or pulling those heels down towards the floor. Okay, so we're going to pull into those abdominals first, as usual. Let's stay in a neutral pelvis today, unless it feels better for you to imprint. So imprint would be tipping the pelvis backwards, letting the low back come to the mat. If you have any back issues, that might feel better, and that's why I give you that option. We're going to pull into those abs, and then let's do a nice 5 count where we're driving those heels down to the floor, and you can see I'm shaking a little bit. And we're going to hold it for 3, 2, 1, and release. It's like you're going to squish that ball with your heels. Bring them all the way down to the floor. You ready? Get it? Abs engage. Pelvic floor lifts. Pull those heels to the floor, really activating through those glutes. You can reach back there and say, hello, are you working? 2, 1, and release. Again, let's do this 3 more times. Exhale, press down and push. 3, 2, 1, and release. Inhale, exhale, press it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Final one. Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Woo! Feel the burn? If you got a hamstring cramp, stop, shake it out. It gets better. They'll go away eventually. Okay, we're gonna now take our feet to the floor and wrap those inner thighs around the ball like you're hugging it. You can even bring your feet a little bit further so you can get both the quad and the calves around the ball. Okay, so on this one, the feet are staying flat on the floor. Again, we're getting that abdominal engagement. Then I want you to think about the thigh bones coming in towards each other. So we're getting an adductor or an inner thigh squeeze. So you can kind of think about thigh mastering the ball, but you don't want it to pop out. So that's why the calves are also touching. Okay, same 5 count. Abs engage. Exhale, pull in. The knees are the last part to come towards each other. 3, 2, 1, and release. Again, exhale, squeeze it in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. 2 more times. Exhale. I'm laughing because I'm shaking. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Just means I need to do this with you more, huh? Exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and final time. Exhale, squeeze. We got 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh boy. All right, bring your feet up to the top of your ball. I bet you need to just roll those legs out a little bit. So have a little fun here, kicking those legs long and then bring it back into your chest. And there's just one more hamstring exercise that I want to do, and then we'll stretch, okay? Hang with me for just one more exercise. All right, so now we're taking the heels to the top of the ball, but we're going to stretch our legs out. And here's a little pro tip. The more you have your legs connected to the ball, or the closer the ball is to you, the easier this will be. So if I roll the ball closer to my butt, it's going to be easier for me to come up. Okay, so you might want to start here and just see how you do. And then you can start to challenge yourself by moving it more down towards your calves or your heels, okay? I say that because as you start to incorporate this, it's abdominal and glute and hamstring, and what's often I see people do is they'll tend to veer to one side. So instead of this being a straight runway, once they get up, the ball will start to roll one direction or the other. Is it happening to you right now? See? Oh, if that's happening to you, when you come up, if the ball's going over, for example, to your right side, it's the opposite side that needs a little bit more engagement or a little bit more muscle work, glutes squeeze. So we're going to turn those glutes on a little bit more on the left side. So practice that. You're just hinging right here at your hip crease, coming up and lowering back down. So whatever side you're veering to, see if you can get the other side to turn on a little bit more. So it's an exhale up and an inhale back down. Exhale up, inhale back down. Now if you're not having any trouble with this, then one way that you can make it a little bit more challenging is to get these elbows out of the picture and bring your arms straight up in the air. So now it's all balanced against your shoulders. We got 6. There we go. And 5. And 4. Let's go 3. Final 2. Lift and lower. And final 1. Exhale, lift. And inhale, lower. Good job. All right, you guys ready to stretch? Okay, this is one of my favorite stretches. We're gonna sit up. I'm going into a straddle with my feet, so my legs are wide. And then I'm putting the ball right in front of me. My hands are gonna be right on the front, so not top, but front of the ball. And think about reaching out of the crown of your head. So from here, we're keeping a flat back, rolling those arms forward, and with your hands on top of the ball, we're now going to work on a downward press. So the ribs are pushing down to the floor, the palms are pushing down to the floor, but we're staying out of these upper traps. And boy, do I feel that in my hamstrings, and I feel it in my back muscles, and it feels good, glorious, love-hate-ish. And then bring it back. And exhale, press down. And inhale, bring it back up. Let's do it one more time. Exhale, press down. And inhale, bring it back up. Then from here, we're gonna walk those hands over to the right side. And as I push that ball away, I'm still doing a little downward pressure into those hands, but also into this opposite glute. So my left glute is staying down. So when you do this, you'll feel a stretch from sideways and the back, and also right under here, the lats. So push it down, and then roll it back up. And push it down, and bring it back up. And I'm totally aware that I'm having a crazy hair day, but I figured I'm gonna go ahead and record anyway, because if I can't be my real self with you guys, who can I be, right? Who can I be my real self with? We're gonna go over to that left side now, push that right glute down. We got 3 of these, and then we're gonna call it a wrap. And exhale, press down, 2, anchor that right glute. Ah, beautiful. And final 1, exhale, press. And inhale, return. That was pretty good, don't you think? Thumbs up for today.